Officer Daniel Carter had spent 8 years on the force, but nothing had prepared him for the night of October 13th. The graveyard shift was usually quiet in the small town of Ravenwood, but that night, something felt off. It started with a call at 2:14 a.m.
911, what's your emergency?
The dispatcher asked.
He's watching me.
Who's watching you, ma'am?
Silence. Then, a faint static before the line went dead. Carter was the closest unit, so he was dispatched to an old farmhouse on the outskirts of town. He knew the place, an abandoned property that had been empty for nearly 2 decades after the Whitmore family mysteriously disappeared. He pulled up the long, winding driveway, headlights slicing through the thick fog. The house was a skeletal shadow against the night, its broken windows like empty eyes staring out at him. Stepping out of his cruiser, he clicked on his flashlight. The night was unnaturally still, the usual sounds of crickets and rustling leaves absent. He approached the front door and knocked.
Police. Anyone inside?
No answer. Trying the handle, he found it unlocked. The door creaked open, revealing a dark interior. The air was stale, carrying the scent of dust and decay.
Hello?
He called. A noise, something skittering upstairs. His hand went to his holster as he stepped inside. The floorboards groaned under his weight as he moved cautiously through the living room. Faded furniture sat covered in dust, and cobwebs hung in thick curtains. His flashlight beam caught a staircase leading up. Then, another noise, like whispers. A shiver ran down his spine. He climbed the stairs slowly, his boots barely making a sound. At the top, a long hallway stretched into darkness. One door stood ajar. Pushing it open, Carter's breath hitched. The room was empty, except for an old wooden chair facing the window. On it sat a dusty rotary phone, the kind that hadn't been used in decades. The receiver was off the hook, swinging slightly as if it had just been placed down, and then... click. Behind him. He spun around, gun drawn, but there was no one there. The hallway was just as empty as before. A slow, rhythmic creaking filled the air. Carter turned back toward the window. The chair was rocking. His pulse pounded in his ears. He had seen a lot in his years as a cop, but this... His radio crackled.
Unit 12, status?
He fumbled for it, pressing the button.
Dispatch, I'm at the Whitmore house. No sign of the caller, but...
He hesitated. What could he even say?
But I think someone was here.
Static. Then a voice. Not dispatch. Not anyone he knew.
He's still watching.
Carter bolted. He didn't check the rooms. Didn't look back. He took the stairs 2 at a time, bursting through the front door into the cold night air. He jumped into his cruiser, locking the doors as his breath came in short gasps. The house stood silent, dark, and unmoving. But in the rearview mirror, up in the window of that empty room, a shadow stood watching. Carter never took another call to the Whitmore house.